I gotta say, I'm kind of shocked they kept this at 35 feet. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV, getting caught up with my old friend at the Montana series here. I think it's been about 18 months since I had a chance to put my hands on Montanas. People started asking me like, Josh, I haven't seen a Montana video in forever. Are you guys still carrying them? Yes, absolutely. I don't know why. I just haven't bumped into many on camera recently here. And I am happy to see some of the updates and improvements they've made. We're starting today with the Montana High Country series. Now, the naming conventions in the Montana family kind of throw people off, because Montana High Country sounds like the big brother member of the family. This is actually the little brother member of the family. From here, we move up to what I call Full Monty, the Montana Luxury. But today we're looking at a High Country. There's a few key differences here. This is basically where the luxury segment of Keystone fifth wheels starts. Like, we still have things like king beds, the taller slide outs, the bigger entry doors, like the residential height 6.5 foot entry door, nice features like that. You still have solid surface kitchen countertops all the way through, soft close kitchen drawers, a bunch of other details like that that just have always looked and felt like a Montana should look and feel. This floor plan, though, totally caught me off guard, because they have accomplished that opposing slide rear den style floor plan, but they kept the RV at basically 35 foot tip to tail instead of being 37, 38 or longer. I don't know that I've seen that accomplished before, but that also means, like any RV or any person, this RV's greatest asset is also its greatest liability. What they had to do to keep the total size of this in check, because this living room kitchen arrangement is longer than you would normally fit into 35 feet. They had to go with a slightly squished down, efficient, but kind of compacted upper deck bedroom bathroom design. And you might go, this is great. Or you might go, I absolutely hate it. And if you like it, great, put a ring on it. And if you don't, I hope you appreciate that we'll go out of our way to share the good, the bad, the ugly with everything in between. I want to show you what this RV does, maybe areas where it might make you go, I don't know, and then let you decide if you like it or not. And as we go, I want to hear from you. What do you think of her? And as you're stepping in the RV, as you're, walking up the staircase in here and you look to the left, this is pretty much what you're going to see. Now, I am actually standing on one of the steps that takes you to the upper deck. It's not that I'm super duper tall like that, but that's basically what you're looking at there. And I think this one has a very attractive appeal right when you walk in the door. I think it just has a cool look and a good aesthetic. Rear entertainments like this used to be dominant within big, fancy pants, shiny shoes, fifth wheels. And it's kind of cool to see how some designs have kind of come back into the mix, because for the longest time, it's like almost all fifth wheels in the big fifth wheel series pretty much just became rear sofa, rear sofa, rear sofa. And don't get me wrong, that's a nice layout and there's some nice aspects to it. But this kind of rear den theater seat party atmosphere overlook thing, I like this layout. One of the things I like is we are currently standing in the kitchen. So if you are the person in the kitchen, most RVs, you're left out of the entertainment. You become that person who has to go, what happened? Catch me up. And you don't have to do that here. You can still enjoy the entertainment. You can still enjoy your Amazon Prime and commitment movie phase if you're past the Netflix and chill era of your relationship, which statistically, Montana owners probably are. I don't know. There's medications for that, I suppose. Oh, HR is going to fire me one day. Anyway, until that happens, we're going to keep having a lot of fun, ladies and gentlemen. But I like the fact that this big old fancy 50-inch smart TV, you're just staring straight down the barrel of this sucker. Now, again, this is the view from standing in the kitchen. So normally, you'd be even closer. Let me actually slide up here into the theater seat. And this is pretty much what you'd be looking at right here, because I don't use a wide-angle lens. This would be more organically how this would appear. And I love the fact that the TV is not mounted all the way up against the ceiling. I'm not good with my home and garden television terms. Is that called fluted glass panels? The vertical things, is that fluted panels? Anyway, it doesn't matter. The glass inserts on those, they are foggy and clouded enough that you don't really see in there. Like, you can see that there's a shelf in that, but you can't really see any sort of potential clutter or disarray. This light box in the middle, my personal opinion, I think it looks super cool. It's a neat little decoration statement piece, but it's not a good spot for cargo to travel down the road because it's not enclosed. So I think that's a little point worth considering. JBL sound system in here, a lot better than a lot of things that I've heard in the past. Obviously, the electric space heat and Tootsie Toaster. What you can't see, though, is that this RV also has an electric heat pump built into the main air. This RV has dual 15,000 BTU central AC systems, and they look different because this actually has a residential air filtration system on it. You can actually just get filters on Amazon and have better air quality in a Montana RV. And every manufacturer has this claim that their air conditioner somehow runs quieter than everybody's. I've been in Montana's running. I don't know that they're the quietest, but they're definitely not loud compared to a lot of other things that I've been in. So the fact that you have an electric space heating fireplace, you have the heat pump on the AC, and you have holding tank heat pads, plus your normal propane furnace system, this RV, in a quite literal sense, has 2 heating systems that can operate simultaneously. And I've been in Montana's running the furnace when they're cold. I've been in Montana's running the air conditioner when they're hot. Their weather package works. One of the reasons they know it works is Montana Keystone is one of the few companies that actually has their own weather testing chambers. So when they make weather claims, they have actually done the verification. And what a lot of people looking at RVs don't realize is that's not normal. The industry standard in the RV world of things is RV manufacturers will put a layer of hot dog foil, radiant paper, basically radiant foil, in their RVs and come up with an absolutely unproven inflated R value and then make promises that may or may not be verified. Most of the time they are not. But the thing is, there's no third party whistleblower. There's no third-party standard testing required to verify weather packages on anything like that. So it's a really, really interesting thing that kind of happens there in the world of RVing. Now, over here in the dining area, we're going to come back to this. If we're sitting over here, we're overlooking the campsite of the RV. So even though you've got that refrigerator in the pantry, technically in the way of campsite viewing, you have enough windows over here that I give it credit. I think it counts. It counts well enough. When you're sitting or standing in the living room or sitting or standing in the kitchen, you have windows in an appropriate logical location to be able to see out. Also, this year, I really like the updated window treatments. So they're, if I'm not mistaken, hold on. They got the blackout roller shades. Okay, for some reason I was thinking they had a radiant foil backer on those, but they don't appear to. But I like how they went with that all wood-framed boxing valance and then fully wood-framed around those windows. For me, aesthetically, I think that just gives it a really clean look, a really nice touch right there. And I don't use a wide-angle lens. Even though it's, quote, only a 2-cushion sofa, did you notice how that looked like a really big sofa? Well, your eyes were not deceiving you. I almost wish they would have made this what looked to be a 3-cushion sofa, so it was a little more obvious that that is an extra long couch. It can fold open into a sleeper, like I'm demonstrating right here, but it's long enough that unless you're super Johnny Longlegs, you're probably going to be able to just lay down on the thing, grab a pillow and a blanket, and take a midday snooze. Now, if you got a couple guests for a weekend, you might want to fold it open, but I don't know that you necessarily are typically going to have to do that. The canister style LED lighting they have in here is also another little nice upgraded feature. The general cleanly work on a lot of their slide fascia stuff. Montana's cabinet shop, though, to be fair, for a number of years has been pretty darn good. Now, when you get up into Big Brother Full Monty, the Montana Luxury Series, you'll get actually even a little bit fancier table. But get in there. If you are going to have a couple guests over and you need a little bit more elbow room than that table was going to provide, it does have an extension leaf that's included. Now, it ships with the 4 chairs, but the you don't necessarily... Oh! Gosh. Okay. You notice how that door is closed and that one's not? As I was backing up to try to get you a better angle on that table footage, I didn't realize I was pushing that door shut and it snapped closed behind me and clunk, like right behind my head. Kind of freaked me out. Yeah, back to the show. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. If there's going to be more than two of you, you can get some extra elbow room. But it also means you don't necessarily have to use all those chairs. If you're like, we're not getting this RV so that we can have guests over, nothing says that you have to. You may have also noticed the sofa has suddenly become cuddle compliant instead of population controlling, because the what kind of looked like a middle soda can holder armrest actually is almost like pontoon style. It's removable. It just kind of slots and shoves between the two cushions, and it works well. But these are also power theater seats. Did you catch that motion light by the stairs by the entryway? That's a nice little touch right there. Now, as we get into the kitchen, I want to mention we're looking at the optional refrigerator today. Both members of the Montana family give you different refrigerator options. Now, high country fridges vary from full Monty fridges. Basically, high country fridges are a little bit smaller because it's the little brother, but you're paying more for the big fridge in the full Montana. But by default, you would normally right here have an 18 cubic foot residential refrigerator that would auto include a 2,000 watt inverter to keep it running going down the road. What we are looking at here is a 16 cubic foot 12 volt compressor fridge. So it doesn't need an inverter to run going down the road. But if you want the inverter, you could regain it by upgrading from the 220 watt standard solar package, which is only inverter prepped, to the 440 watt upgraded solar package, which would include that 2,000 watt inverter. There are also larger solar packages available that may potentially have larger levels of inversion as well. Now, the thing is, this is a laminated wall RV. So putting power outlets right above the countertop height is normally very, very difficult. But this left-hand wall where that outlet's located, that's a 3-inch hollow interior wall with basically residential standard 16-inch on-center wall studs. That's a thing that Montana does. Most of Keystone does, actually. They have 3-inch thick studded out. Of course, I'm kicking the entry step thing there. But what was I saying? Montana has 3-inch thick studded out walls. Most RV manufacturers, well, not most, many. It's more common up in big fifth wheels, but in medium-sized fifth wheels and smaller trailers, that's very, very uncommon. And I tell you what, assuming I don't forget, in a minute here, I'll actually show you how you can determine manufacturer interior wall thicknesses. It's actually very simple, but it's something that a lot of RV shoppers just don't tend to consider, because the RV industry doesn't necessarily have to do any sort of residential standard on hollow interior wall structures. It's not out of question for some brands to only have an 1.5 to 2-inch kind of, interior wall design. What Montana's doing here is rather exceptional within the business. But as I realize now, as we've been looking at the kitchen, I've been talking a lot about hollow wall thicknesses. Let's circle back to that. I appreciate just switches. When you go up to full Monty and then up to Legacy, you get a lot of fancy technology packages. I kind of just like pushing buttons. Ask my wife. She'll verify that is true. That's a big residential size, like 30-inch over-the-range microwave. Notice that magnetic knife holder over there against the wall. That's another. Montana is just always so good about the touches. And I think it's because, if you weren't aware, Montana is the #1 selling fifth wheel in the history of history. So they just have more time, more experience, and more owners giving them more feedback than literally any other fifth wheel brand in existence. And frankly, there's very few travel trailer builders that can even match the number of Montanas sold over the years. One thing I'm noticing here, because the stovetop's mounted on the interior wall, not against the exterior wall, that means that it's not ventilated like you would normally expect. So what they've done here is they put one of those rain-sensing XL vent fans up top to act as a heat exhaust point. My experience has always been that works just fine. But a lot of people get really weirded out by that. And if that's the case, that's okay. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. I have found it's okay, but that's me and my experience. And I think you should purchase according to your peace of mind. I'm not here to try to convince you into or out of anything. I just want to share information and let you decide what sounds best to you. I like that motion lighting. I like the central vacuum cleaner, right, kind of amidships, as it were. Easy access to the fuse box and converter panel and all that. You might notice, this is kind of a weird spot for it. This household outlet right here has the inverter prep sticker on it. And, you know, again, we've already talked about how there's multiple different ways to get inversion on those outlets, but is it, what would that be? Like, you could use it over for appliances over here. Is it me or is that a weird spot? Okay, maybe there's a thing I haven't considered, which, hey, just because I haven't imagined it doesn't mean it's not true. Now, I like this kitchen and living room arrangement, but to keep this thing at basically 35 foot stem to stern, they had to go with their kind of truncated squish down upper deck design. And it's one that you'll see the exact same upper deck in the 295 Montana. Basically, this just has a little bit different kitchen and living room layout, but it's also about a foot longer than the 295 Montana. And you might like it, you might not, but let's get into it. You have your choice between a queen or a king bed. We're looking at the king option today. Notice how the mattress overhangs the bed base. One of the things there is if you want to, I'm going to lean forward here, you can shave down that decking and you could just make this a queen bed. So all Montanas are true queen capable, but you have that king capacity right here. And as you saw, that decking does fully support the edge of the mattress. So it's not like it slumps over the side or anything like that here. These over the, I don't like to call these CPAP stands because my understanding is you should not have a CPAP machine like above your head. Some of those things that would cause humidity basically to backflow into you. I like to call these like a glorified phone charging stand, but they're wide enough that like, I like to have a magnetic phone charger as compared to always plugging my phone in. And I like what they've done here, but they've also kind of located those outlets where over here you have that side stand. I think that's a really smart thing. And having a dedicated side stand in a bedroom slide is kind of a hard find. Now, you don't have one on both sides of the bed, but you at least have one on that side of the bed. Again, we have the air filtering, air conditioner kind of system going on up here, which that's why this looks a little funny. You take that grate off, there's a little replacement filter you put up there, and if you're camping in a place with a lot of, I don't know, dirty air, I guess you can change that up. Or maybe you need to, whether it's for dirty air or if you have dirty air coming out of your dairy air, you might find some benefit in the Montana air filtration system. I don't know. But take a look at this Legend of Zelda secret nonsense that they've pulled off over here. It's nothing fancy, but I kind of like it. So first of all, they have a 6-drawer dresser. Great. Nothing to really write home about. They have some hidden storage in the top of the dresser. It's neat, but a lot of brands have that. What not a lot of brands have is a slide over desk station like this. Now, the chair that we're looking at is one of the chairs from the dining room. I brought it over here, and you know what? I found out it fits just fine. So I thought I'd put it to the test. Because why take my word for it when it could be argued that I'm a biased party? I think that's a fair... Hey, creepy guy in the mirror. Don't know that I appreciate you. Anyway, you could argue that I'm a biased party. So of course I say that it works and it can fit fine, but I thought I'd actually show myself getting over here, sliding into place. Now that I'm sitting here, I'll tell you, for desk work, it does feel a bit high because this is intended to be a dresser first. And in case you're wondering, like, yeah, the Weebles wobble, but it doesn't fall down because what you can't see, oh, maybe you can right there in camera. There's a little support nub over here, essentially, where once this is open, the end of it has support. And this is a full ball bearing roller glide. So only about half of the stand is hanging over here. So if all I really have up here is a laptop and I'm just doing laptop work, I'm not saying it's a perfect desk solution. I'm saying that for somebody like me who maybe spends 30, 40 minutes a day, even on vacation, checking work digitally, this would be enough that I could make it work. But I don't know. Would you find any benefit in this, or is this just nonsense to you? So anyway, yeah, let me know what you think. Or don't. I can't tell you what to do. What I can do is continue to tell you about the RV. I hope you appreciate, by the way, the little body size demos, opening all the things, letting you see everything. Now, there's those little carpeted corners in those front closet-ish kind of areas. That is because Keystone has what they call their max turn technology. Basically, it's their name for the way that they allow you to have a tighter turning radius on their nose cap design. One thing I've always kind of asked for, and they just don't do, and I understand why, is I've said, hey, is there an option to put a full front closet on this thing? And basically, no, there's not. Part of the reason that they've come up with this design is because, again, the idea of this RV was to keep it shorter in length. But what they're doing is where there's that step up, that's upper deck structure. That's normally where the closet starts. Well, what they're doing, I'm going to close this stuff. I don't usually close a lot of storage on camera. They're using this essentially as walk-around space to get around this side of the bed, and they're effectively shaving a foot off the RV by doing it. And while that's really cool, what it also means is you have two small closets instead of one giant mega closet. Thankfully, we do also have some storage under the bed. And there it is. Those are your, that's what I call the pool cleaner kit for your central vacuum. That's the little hose that you use to... That's the sound it always makes when it like gets stuck on the rug. It's like... I'm sorry. I spent way too much time making the hose sounds. It's just really funny to me. The mattress isn't the worst I've ever seen. The problem with mattresses is that there's no one mattress that everybody agrees is comfortable. So what we get is this random hodgepodge of different mattresses in the industry, most of which aren't too much to write home about regardless. I think I said that phrase several times rapid fire. What's maybe less obvious is that all of this storage over here is part of the upper deck super slide. The bedroom and bathroom have a sliding privacy door, but it has to have this second entry point because that whole thing, it's one upper deck super slide, basically. And this is also where in the bottom section where you would find your combo washer dryer prep and some extra hanging storage. We're going to come back there in just a minute. First of all, though, I want to finish up the rest of the bathroom. Right over here for the toilet, we have excellent space. This is what I call fairly fluffy, friendly, and obviously that is a porcelain foot flush. Little linen cabinet up here might be handy if you like to, if you do choose to install a washer dryer. Statistically, very, very few people do. Now up here, I don't know if I see something, I say something. I don't love this gap. It's not hurting anything. It just means that this got over screwed a little bit. I don't love it. It could be fixed, but anyway, by default, this has the dollar store 4-inch fart fan. In a Montana high country, the XL Fajita Friday Fume Fight and Fart Fan is an option, but it is available from the factory. So your big full Monties will have that factory standard. Now, this shower over here, let's talk about it. I'm wearing some exceptionally thick-soled shoes for support because I am stomping around concrete all day. And I'm a little over 6 foot tall. And I found that my scalp was basically scraping into the ceiling panels, which means you've got about 6'2" to 6'3"-ish of clearance from the shower pan to the ceiling there. I was a little bit surprised. I did note this one-piece molded shower enclosure right here. It's all, fiberglass. There's no seams. But you notice it actually does have a step up around here. The thing is, this is a larger radius shower than most. Not all radius showers are created equally. You see that it's large enough it actually does have a corner seat, and you can see the upgraded shower head that Montana has started including factory standard. Cougar does the same thing now, by the way. Alpha Wolf was actually the first, Alpha Arctic was the first brand that I saw standardize that. So just giving a little bit of credit where it's due there. Beyond that, you're like, well, where's the sink and stuff? I mean, right here. It's in that little corner between the two entry doors. And hold on, I'm going to move the camera back down. Whenever I reverse gears, I like to let you know and give you a little pause there so it doesn't make you sick. The faucet is kind of off onto the corner right there. It looks really weird. I've never personally had a problem using one like that. Some people, I think, dislike the idea, but I think in practical function, they work fine. At least that's been my experience. Couple little storage bits here, then we're going to close the slides up for road mode. I like to just show that it is a full medicine cabinet. Now, this area up top will always be just a huge chunk of linen storage. The bottom section, its purpose changes depending on what you're doing. You see that it's got a hanging rod in there. I think 98+% of people are probably going to use it just as extra closet and general storage space, but it is prepped for a combo washer dryer. This is one of the very few members of anything in the Montana family that does not have stackable washer dryer capacity. This one is combo only. I'm not giving you the best angle for it because we're looking at these drawers, but there is a really nice space under that sink also for a handy wastebasket. And I know it seems sometimes like, gosh, he spends a lot of time talking about some just stupidly fine minutia. But when you're actually spending an extended time in an RV, and chances are if you're buying in a Montana, it's because you want to spend extended time in here, that's the stuff you're going to want to look for. So I always just try to, if I was going to move into this, what would I look for? And that's how I try to go about my videos. I hope it helps. I just realized I'm over here in the reflection of that mirror. I try to pretend I'm a vampire and I don't have a reflection, but hey, neither here nor there. Never mind. So this slide is sleepable when retracted. Not a lot of fifth wheels are, but it's getting better. But one of the things Montana did different is a lot of RVs have roller caster glider wheels under their bed slides. That's not unusual, but notice how Montanas are back there and not up here. What they did is they actually mounted the roller on the floor so that the slide out coming in and out doesn't grind a groove or like catch a stone and screw stuff up on your flooring. It cost no more dollars, and it's so much more dingbat proof. It's not even funny. It's just stupid little details like that sometimes that Montana does that keep them out of the shop. Now, remember, this is one upper deck super slide. So when this closes, it gets a little funky in here. Can you still get to the toilet? Yes, you can. But here's what it requires. And I'm kind of going slow because I know I'm pointing straight down. I don't want to make you motion sick. You have to kind of open the door, get around the corner. And that does, I tell you, I'm not trying to shame anyone. I'm just saying if you are a person of larger stature, that might be a little bit of a problem. So if you are a full featured person, I would recommend when you go shopping for this RV, ask to have the slide out closed. First of all, if a salesperson won't close the slide for you, they're probably lazy. Secondly, you better make sure you can fit before you buy it. You know what I mean? Because afterwards it might be too late. Not every place has a 72-hour no questions asked return policy like Bish's RV does. So anyway, what I wasn't sure about is what can we do with this refrigerator in transit? And I don't think it's good news because the refrigerator comes right up against this peninsula. And if I had some cans of soda right here or pop or whatever, I could reach them. But otherwise, by default, this one does not have excellent road travel access. And while what I'm about to tell you I don't think makes up for this, it might be a functional workaround for you. This is a rack and pinion slide. One of the benefits of that is if you want to open it only like 6 or 8 inches, just enough to get to that fridge, grab something, close it, then close the slide back up, it won't screw anything up. That's perfectly fine. The other thing is, this RV has those big 4-step stable steps to get into that door behind me over here. Those fold down and stick out farther than that slide opens. So if you can open the door and put the steps down, if you can get into this RV, most of the time, you do have space to deploy a slide out. And this is only about a 2-foot deep slide. This isn't a normal 3-foot deep sofa slide. That's part of the reason the couch sticks out past the refrigerator. So there's workarounds. It's not ideal, but if you appreciate how we break all that down and help educate you on that stuff, hit that subscribe button if you're new with us, and we'll keep on keeping on. Let's go talk towing. So, always the question, what's it gonna take to move this sucker around? Whenever you see the word Montana on an RV, I I pretty much feel it's reasonable to say your truck should start with 1 ton, basically. There's probably some single rear wheel 1 tons that would make a good fit here. If you're going to do some cross-country towing, I don't know that you would be disappointed with the stability and handling of a dually, but I don't know as far as the specs go that you always necessarily need to go that route. It may depend on your truck's specific capacities, because if you get the 1 ton trucks that are all loaded out with all the fancy widgets and whiz bangs and power fold out entry steps, they weigh more, which eats into your cargo capacity, which hurts your payload rating. Well, cargo capacity and payload rating are the same thing. That's like telling the time in London and England. You get the idea. Anyway, again, this model is one of the few that does force a windshield up front. They do not offer an optional closet because it would make it a little too tight to get around that bed. Although, one of the things here, the way this RV lays out, that front awning is nice. I think if I remember right, I'm operating from memory, I believe this RV has something like 27 foot of total awning space. That is pretty awesome. Another little detail that's easy to miss. I'll try to get you up close and actually, I'll just go ahead and do it right now. I was going to wait, but we'll do this right now. This is something when people are shopping, they don't really think to look for it. Now we're going to see a nice little drizzle of rain because the snow is melting off these. But they are using a higher gloss fiberglass on these. They're not using a Phylon, less fancy exterior skin. The reason I point that out is there are plenty of big, high-profile fifth wheels out there, and a lot of them will use the same thing that we're looking at. But a lot of them don't. And that's just one of those little detail things to look at for kind of like the trim package or echelon that you're looking at on the RV. Now, all of your high countries are going to have your road armor pin box and suspension package to give you some pretty, I think reasonable, respectable ride and handling kind of features. But a couple things that have changed on the high country series since the last time I got a hold of them, like slide awnings are optional, but that's always been the case. You can now get paint packages on a high country. They have a gray and a black, very similar, I think, in mindset to what the Keystone Cougar offers. But that's something high country just did not used to offer. So paint packages are finally available on the Little Brother high country series. Now, up top on this one, you'll always be able to see that first solar panel that we're looking at right there. By default, this has 220 watts of solar and a 30 amp charge controller. The RV specifically that we are looking at today does have their 440 watt solar package. Now, the 440 package is very commonly paired up with Montana high countries that are outfitted with that 12 volt compressor fridge. It's not required. The 12 volt fridge does not force a larger solar package, but that is an extremely common peas and carrots kind of pairing that you'll find on these. There's a sticker right by the door that tells you what solar package is on it. But another thing you can do if you get up here into the front pass-through is you can take a, oh, thank you, Motion Light. This is going to help us tremendously. You see that big silver sucker right there? Well, that is a 2,000 watt inverter. And there's a couple different ways that you can get that outfitted onto this RV. First of all, the standard residential fridge will include that 2,000 watt inverter. Or if you get the 440 solar package, that's another way that it has an inverter. So there's several different ways to get outlet inversion in these. If you're looking really closely, you might notice how there's some perforated punch outs in that front pass-through kind of tray, essentially. Montana high countries by default are not set for a generator. However, you can get a factory gen prep option, or you can actually get a factory generator installed. So you don't necessarily have to go up to the price point of what I call the full Monty, the luxury Montana series. Those are features you can still get here. That's kind of the thing. The people have asked me a long time, like, what's the difference between a high country and a full Montana? And I think one of the best ways I can describe it is like high country is a lighter weight Montana with simplified trim package, but still a Montana trim package, like the bigger, taller entry door. You see how the entry door is the same height as the slide ceiling? Like, not every RV has the taller, wider doors like that. Like, it still has all the key clutch Montana features. It's just in a little bit lighter weight package. High Country's electric slides and leveling instead of hydraulic like Full Monty Luxury, but they both have excellent tires, suspension upgrade package. They both have those key detail features. High Country's always felt like an RV because of the lighter weight that would be really good for towing and going a lot. Whereas Big Full Monty Montana has always felt a little bit more like a luxury home away from home RV retirement kind of situation, snowbird sunbirding. Now, you can use a High Country for a park use. You could use a Full Luxury Montana for a mobile use. There's nothing that says one can't do the other. That's just always how they felt to me. So anyway, I do like the permanently attached ladder. Montana's always been good about that, though. There's a little detail here. Keystone's the only manufacturer I've seen do this. Maybe I've just never noticed it elsewhere. If you get in and shop at one of these, get your fingernails on the bottom of this trim right here, and you're going to feel a groove. It's an intentional inversion groove so that if water's washing down the slide walls, water can't go up on its own without assistance. So it'll cause that water to bead up and drip down instead of wicking sideways into your RV's slide out subfloor. And that's that wicking into the subfloor problem. That's nothing that's going to cause you issues while the RV's new. But while the RV's, 6, 7, 8 years old, that's where it starts to really become an issue. Now, this floor plane, like most Montanas, will have the towing package on the back, that 3,000-pound hitch, the 4-way wiring harness, the safety chain hooks. Essentially, every Montana that can will have that. What I mean by that is if it's a model that's a rear drop frame, like a 377, or like a rear door model or something like that, like a cargo sliding door in the back, there's not room for the hitch back there. So due to circumstance, some Montanas don't always have that rear towing hitch, just to kind of help you understand the mindset. And here's a little bit better look at the gloss on that fiberglass. It's like, if this was a cheaper Phylon, a cheaper skin, you wouldn't be able to see the reflection of all the scaffolding and everything right alongside of it there like you're looking at. This floor plan, if I'm not mistaken, it is. Okay, good. This is a single sewer outlet, so you're not going to have to do, crossing sewer hookups or anything like that. Another change that happened this year is that Montana High Country has gone to a tankless on-demand water heater, but Full Monty, Luxury Montana, has maintained a large gas and electric water heater. Question then is why? Basically, to give you a choice. Some people like one, some people like the other, and the input both ways is still very murky as to which one's better and which one people prefer. So Montana decided to split the difference and go tankless on this and gas and electric on the other one, and let you choose which way you want to go. Now, this is an easier place to get to see it, but it's all PEX on PEX plumbing. They don't use any what I call flex on PEX. They're not using any flexible rubber hoses on any PEX connections. And Montana's been that way for a very long time, like way before that was ever even a talking point. That's pretty much how they've always plumbed their stuff. And I don't think they've ever really had a lot of issues with it as a result. Now, a quick little thing. Your lower deck slide outs are going to be an electric rack and pinion. Your upper deck slides are a Norco exact slide system. One of the cool benefits of that being the exact slide, again, is that while it's retracted, you actually can sleep in and occupy that slide. And not every fifth wheel lets you do that. So thanks again for tuning in. As I always do, I'll drop you some links in the video description so that whether you're curious or whether you're serious, if you want to see what one of these things is running, we'll have a link right there for you. We'll be able to check out at least MSRP, if not a discounted sale price that we do have actively in stock for you. And short of that, love to hear from you. And hopefully we'll see you next time. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.